Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Why Nobody Plays video. And I apologize because this video is, I think, almost 2 weeks overdue. But yeah, we're finally here, and the champion that we're gonna be discussing today is Immortal Hulk, or iHulk. He's a character that only a handful of people actually hold dear in their hearts, and he's a pretty complex yet simple character, yet you don't really see him in a lot of places. But like we always do with these kinds of videos, let's actually go over all his abilities first, and then later on discuss why nobody plays him. Hulk is fully immune to all poison effects, and his regeneration rate can also not be decreased or increased by outside sources. He also gains a certain amount of attack rating based on how much health he actually lost during the entire fight, and this ability is based on 200% of his maximum health. Moving on to his rage. And the max stacks of these that you can have is 25, his first medium attack, his first hit of the special 1, and the first and last hit of the special 2 will give him a rage stack. Once you have one, they pretty much build up the more you get, and all of these stacks will be lost 2 seconds after not performing a rage attack. But these stacks are paused during his as well as the opponent's special attacks, but yeah. Now the effects that these rage attacks have is they deal a burst of physical damage for each rage stack, and they deal a burst of direct damage to Hulk for each rage stack except when using his first medium attack. And this direct damage actually can't knock him out, so yeah. Now moving on to his persistent charges. The max of these that you can actually have is 100%, which is equal to 100% of Hulk's maximum health, and it also scales with boosts as well as buffs. 20% of all damage dealt to Hulk when he struck will be stored as gamma radiation. 60% of all the damage dealt to him while he's afflicted with a degeneration effect will also be stored as gamma radiation, whatever. 100% of all self-inflicted damage will also be stored as gamma radiation. But moving on to his immortality. When he receives a hit that would knock him out, while his gamma radiation is above 15%, he'll consume 15% and gain an immortality passive which prevents him from dying, and he'll become unblockable for 8 seconds, and this ability has a 50-second cooldown. While this immortality is active, any damage prevented by Hulk consumes an equal amount of gamma radiation instead. However, it does not apply to self-inflicted damage. Once this immortality expires, he will then consume all gamma radiation and become invulnerable and gain a regeneration passive, recovering a certain number of health plus all gamma radiation as health over a single second. All of his persistent charges will basically turn back into his health. But moving on to the heavy attacks. The first hit refreshes the rage timer and doubles the amount of rage stacks. The last hit will then gain a certain number of attack rating for each rage stack that Hulk actually has. But moving on to the special attacks. Special 1. The last of this attack has a 60% chance to inflict a stun debuff which lasts for 1.75 seconds. The Special 2. The last hit of the attack will have a 100% chance to inflict a stun debuff which lasts for 3 seconds. It also inflicts a suppression debuff for each rage stack which reduces the opponent's combat power rate by 5% for 15 seconds, and the max stacks of these that you can have is actually 14. The Special 3. It adds a flat 15% strength to gamma radiation, and it also inflicts a petrified debuff of 25% potency for 20 seconds. But moving on to his awakened ability. It gives him different effects based on the percentage of gamma radiation that he actually has. While he's above 25% gamma radiation, his basic attacks will have a certain percentage in chance to inflict a stun debuff which lasts 0.75 seconds. While he's above 50% gamma radiation, when the opponent is immune to a stun effect or stun expires, he will inflict a weakness debuff which decreases their attack rating by a certain percentage for 4 seconds. And while he's above 75% gamma radiation, he inflicts an indefinite petrify debuff which has a certain percentage of potency, and yeah, that's basically it for his abilities. His kit is evolved around hurting the opponent while also hurting himself to trigger his immortality to then allow him to stack up his rage stacks easier. And yeah, his playstyle is pretty much based on all these rage stacks. This dude has a super built, super buff physique. Although in this game it looks kind of funny because it's like he's too wide and then he's like too short. So then you basically have all the muscle compounded into this small thing. But yeah, this dude is walking around the contest with no shoes. Look at those big toes, man. And his barber pretty much did him wrong. He also has a box-shaped head, but then yeah, the barber took off too much from the sides, man. And the big mean-looking eyebrows, there's a lot going on with this dude, man. But anyways, onto the topic of why nobody plays him. Now before I start with this section, I do want to say I'm definitely not that great of an iHulk player myself, because while I was testing him out, I pretty much just ran into situations where I would be at 1% health, and his overall playstyle is pretty much just way too stressful to play for me. And so these are kind of my opinions on why I think nobody plays him. So the first problem I found is his immortality. Now let's take these two characters. You have iHulk and you have Hercules. Hercules is just some random dude who deals a lot of damage, sort of has a lot going for him, but his immortality pretty much makes up for it because you can pretty much have a 100% uptime on it depending on how aggressive you can actually be. Now as for this dude's immortality, it's timed and you can't really make it last any longer, or you can't keep it up for a while. And because different fights in this game vary depending on length, you can't really depend 100% on his immortality. And also not to mention that it has a 50-second cooldown. Dog, what? 50 seconds is just way too long. And I kind of want to say, yeah, just make his immortality work like Hercules one. Cause Hulk's kit is pretty much based on staying aggressive while keeping your stacks active or alive. And so having an immortality that lasts based off of actually hitting the opponent makes more sense for this dude to have it than for Hercules to have it, if that makes any sense. But a second problem that I found is that his stacks go away like nobody's business. Pretty much each time you try to build up your rage stacks, the opponent immediately has to throw a special attack, or you immediately have to stun the opponent in order to keep those stacks active. Otherwise, they fall off like 70 or 80% of the time. And these stacks falling off mean that you're not gonna be dealing that much damage. And in a lot of matchups where the opponent isn't really aggressive, you're gonna be missing out a ton of damage to a point where you might even have preferred to bring another champion instead of this dude. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know down in the comments who next I should make a why nobody plays video on. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!
I've been fighting a lot of convictions, yeah, the pain is so humbling. I've been at my lowest, but I'm staying focused, cause I know the blessings still coming in. Give glory to God, cause he kept me steady in moments where I feel like stumbling. Lord help me to preach, with better my speech like Moses, cause I'm sick of mumbling. Lord help me to teach the youth and the people that they can do things that they thought they could not. Please widen your reach and give me your hand so I know what to hold as I head to the top. Giving me peace, you've given me love, and you keep me going where I wanna stop. Whenever I'm beat,